Hey, Coach. I mean, considering the circumstances, what can you really say about Tyrese Maxey today? I thought he was just really aggressive all night long. What did you really think of him?
Yeah, he was great. I thought we needed him to be, and we told him that before the game, but he didn't do it in a way where it looked like he was searching shots. He just did it in a way, to me, where he kind of ran the offense and got it in the flow. So really happy for him. And not only just his scoring, he really didn't turn the ball over, had a good assist night, had a great rebound night. He did a lot of things for us tonight.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to go to Lauren Rosen.
Doc, you said before the game that you were hoping that this would be a teaching moment. What do you hope that the guys learned out there tonight?
Well, I think, even though they believe it, I think they need verification sometimes that they are NBA players, some of these guys. And you can see it as it went on. Isaiah Joe, I think he's going to be a terrific player. And you can see him settling down, getting his legs. Paul Reed, same thing. So for those guys, it was just great. And then, obviously with Dwight and Danny just being veterans and smart and knowing how to play, they were really helpful tonight, both of them. Every time out, they were supportive. They did a lot of coaching tonight, trying to get the guys, just to stay in there and hang in there. So it was good. It was a good thing for our team, even though I know I still hate losing, but it was good for the team.
Thank you, Don. Next, we're going to go to Tom Moore.
Doc, I was just going to say what impressed me the most with Tyrese was that he only had one turnover until late in the kind of game that can be real sloppy.
Yeah.
Had a lot of turnovers, and he still had the legs to knock on those 2 late threes.
Yeah, I think the turnovers came from no legs, if you want to be honest. He played like 14, 16 straight minutes a couple of times.
Right.
He knew I called that last play for him, and he became a point guard on it. He made a pass, and I told him, bro, you got 39. You at least got to throw it up to the rim on that one. And he was joking. He said, you might have yelled at me for forcing it. So he's just a great kid, too. I got to tell you, he's really a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Paul Hudrick.
Well,
Hey, Doc, you touched on Paul Reed, and you also had Tony Bradley in there for extended minutes. I think they had combined like 10 offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
What did you see out of them and like their activity level, especially on the offensive side?
That's what they both do, especially Paul Reed. He did it in college. That's what he'll be here. He's more of an energy player. There's guys, Paul, that come around that just know, they find the basketball. It just seemed like every loose ball, every skirmish, Paul Reed came up with the ball or was around it or creating it. So I think that's his gift.
Thanks, Doc.
Next, we're going to go to Tom West.
Hey, Doc. I know Tyrese's scoring obviously stole the show with his performance today, but I just wondered what you thought of his defense recently and how that part of his skill set has kind of carried over into the league so far.
Yeah, I think he's finding out that there's a lot of good guards in the NBA, is what I would say. He struggles in pick and roll right now. He doesn't struggle with individual defense. So for a rookie, I would say that's a good thing. He can stay in front of the ball. He's got to learn how to navigate screens right now. And he'll do that because he's a quick learner.
Thanks, Doc.
Next up, Keith.
Hey, Doc, is there anything that Maxey did today that kind of surprised you, something that you didn't see that you knew he could do before?
Well, I didn't know he could score 39 points in an NBA game. I'll say that. Other than that, no. I'm telling you, I said it earlier, Keith, he's going to be a terrific player. He's going to keep getting better. He's going to keep getting smarter, just playing with all these vets. And it was actually a good team because it was a clever, I think that would be the word you would use with them. They're a very clever basketball team in the way they play through Jokic and all the cuts. And I guarantee you he learned something from that today, for sure.
Now, Doc, I know this is a development time for you young guys. You want to give them minutes under the circumstances. But at the same time, you still want to be competitive. You still want to, after this, win a championship.
Yeah.
So what are you trying to accomplish right now while your guys are out with the the protocol?
Hey, listen, development, number one, health is number two, Keith, because I think, again, what we're missing in this is COVID created this, but the concern is not COVID now. The concern is injuries because guys are playing so many minutes because we don't have enough guys. And I think if I was deciding games in that way, I would be very careful if I'm the league. Because you don't want that to happen either. And so, example, I'm looking at our stat sheet. We had 1, 2, 3 guys plus 40 and couldn't be avoided. And so now we play again in 2 days. Then we play again. And so that's my concern with this, is that we got to be very careful on how we navigate over the next week.
Thank you.
All right, 3 more. We're going to go to Mark Narducci.
Doc, could you just talk about what this experience was like for you? I mean, one that you've never faced in your coaching career, and just what it was like being part of this. And
yeah, Mark, it's interesting. First of all, your experience was very good in that easy chair that you're sitting in. You must have had a great experience. My gosh, I'm jealous.
I worked a lot less than you did. I'll tell you.
I've actually had this a couple times in Boston. We had those teams, that one year especially, where we were makeshifting every night with different lineups, down to 9. The difference in this one, it wasn't because of a virus or something like that. So, I love coaching, Mark, and I love teaching. And so for me, you want to win number one, and obviously you didn't get that. But just watching and seeing from the first quarter to the fourth quarter, the light bulb going on for some of these guys. It's you always take something out of the game, and that's what I took out of it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Rich Hoffman, then Dan.
Hey, Doc, you said that you weren't at the shoot-around. How was the communication with a bunch of guys who really haven't played that much this year?
Communication was great. Overall, defensively, communication, not so great, obviously. We put in the zone that we ran today doing shoot-around, to give you an example. We just felt like we needed to go to something to try to give them a different look. And actually, it worked for a little while. Got us to halftime, So, and then offensively, I had them run the stuff that we've been running. And watching the guys, like we fell on a couple of things that we can add now too.
And Dan.
Doc, did you say anything to some of these, first-time starters before the game? Was the pregame mood any different? Did you have,
No, listen, I was a young player, and I was telling the guys before the game. I remember Mike Fratello come to me my rookie year and said, "Hey man, I'm sorry, but we only have 8 guys. You're gonna have to play the whole game, 48 minutes." And I was like, "Yeah." When you're young, let me say this: Tyrese and Isaiah and Dakota and Paul Reed, they couldn't have been more excited. So it kind of gives you energy. The one thing great about having young players is the older players kind of pull the young players along, but the younger players kind of push the older players sometimes because of their energy. I think tonight was one of those nights.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank